Well, what I'd like to do now is bring back all of my guests today. So we're going to talk back with Elaine and Maggie and Valdez. I'm going to come together and we're going to do a quick panel that I like to call Hit It and Quit It. Okay. And this is how this panel works. I'm going to ask each of you the same question. You only have 30 seconds to answer and you cannot repeat somebody else's answer. So if somebody gives your answer, you got to come up with something else. All right. And if not, I'm going to give you the cowbell. I don't want to do that. So here's what we're going to do. And so, Elaine, since you have been waiting the longest, I will bring you back first. We're going to go Elaine, Maggie, and then Valdez for this first question. So this is an easy one, guys. Don't worry. The first question is, what is your favorite podcast? Favorite podcast?
The Tim Ferriss podcast.
The Tim Ferriss podcast. Yes, he wrote that book, 4 Hour Workweek, that I hate, but people love it. But okay. Great. Good podcast. All right. Maggie, what's your favorite podcast?
I like The Diary of a CEO.
I like that podcast too. That's a good one. All right, Valdez, what's your favorite podcast?
I'll say Sales Gravy, but now I'm starting to really appreciate Melinda Emerson's podcast.
You're so sweet. I like Sales Gravy too. He's a good guy. I like him. That's a good podcast. All right. Second question. Now this one, Maggie, I'm going to come to you first, then you, Valdez, and then you, Elaine. All right. What is your favorite business app?
I have to say I use Google and Google Drive for everything because I can access it from everywhere. So that I use that all the time.
Excellent. All right, Elaine, what is your favorite business app?
I love Fathom, the AI note taker. It has saved me so much time.
Fathom. I like that one too. All right. And Valdez, what's your favorite app?
Chat GPT.
I think that's mine too. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Now, third question. This time, Valdez is coming to you first, then you, Elaine, then you, Maggie. All right. What is your favorite old school marketing tip?
Old school marketing tip. Well, I'm going to lean on Peter Drucker, who said that business has only one objective, and that's to create customers. And so you have to look at it that way.
Okay. All right. Elaine, what's your favorite old school marketing tip?
It's all about getting yourself into the right rooms. I'm a really big believer in face-to-face meetings and one-on-one relationships.
I agree. I will co-sign that good advice. And Maggie, what about you?
I think you have to be able to explain in a few sentences what your business or brand can do to solve somebody else's problem.
Yeah, you've got to have a succinct elevator pitch. I agree. I would also just add to that, is I think everyone should have a really good succinct bio. It is amazing to me as a podcast host how often people will send me bios and I am like, I don't know what this person does, right? You know what I mean? And I spend a lot of time rewriting and editing them for free and sending them back to people because it's like, this is terrible. This is not what I need. So that would be my best old school marketing tip. Have a really good 30 to 35 word bio that explains who you are, that makes people want to talk to you. All right. Last question, guys. And this one, I'm coming to you, Elaine, first, and then you, Valdez, and then you, Maggie. What is the best business book you've ever read?
Oh, that's a hard one. I don't want to say that it's the best I've ever read because there are so many, but one that I really enjoy is The Company of One, which is a competing book, but it's in the same space. Paul Jarvis has really embraced the one-person business and was one of the forerunners in that space.
Well, that's very big of you to give a competitor a shout out. I appreciate that. All right, Valdez, what about you? What is your favorite business book you've ever read?
Oh, there's so many. I probably read 50 a year or more. But I'm going to go back to an earlier one by Frank Bedker, How to Raise Myself from Failure to Success in Sales.
That is a good one. I think I read that one back in the day myself. All right, Maggie, what about you? What's your favorite business book?
Yeah, I have one. It's not that old, just a couple of years old, but it's How to Build a Goddamn Empire. It just really spoke to me. I thought it was fun to read, and I've recommended it to all my clients.
I've never heard of that one, so let me write that one down. And my favorite business book is 10X is Easier Than 2X by Dan Sullivan. I love that book. I think that book can change people's lives. It certainly changed mine. Well, thank you all for joining me on this episode of the Small Biz Chat. Please thank my guest, Elaine Pofeldt. She's the author of One Person $1 Million Businesses. You can grab it anywhere books are sold. Maggie Lord, she's the CEO and consultant for all things small business. You can head over to maggielord.com. And by all means, please pick up Valdez Lasartemay's new book. His book is called Marketing for in the Number Salesperson. Be sure to grab a copy of his book as well. And thank you all for joining me on this episode of the Small Biz Chat podcast.